All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going deep with Parmenides.
Oh, Parmenides.
One of those pre-Socratic philosophers who really made people think, you know.
Absolutely.
If you're looking to get a handle on his ideas about being and how he went head-to-head with other thinkers and why, honestly, he still matters today, you're in the right spot.
Absolutely.
Fair warning, though,
Yeah.
Parmenides, he was convinced the world, the one we see and feel,
Right.
it's an illusion.
Whoa.
Yeah, mind-blowing stuff.
Mind-blowing, yeah. Parmenides wasn't one to shy away from a challenge, you know.
Oh, definitely not.
He dove straight into the deepest questions of existence.
From what I've read, his whole idea of being, radical is a word.
Yeah.
What's the core of it?
Imagine a perfectly smooth sphere.
Okay.
No cracks, no bumps, no start, no end.
Hmm.
That's kind of how Parmenides saw being. Complete, eternal, unchanging.
Wow.
His famous line, being is and cannot not be, that sums it up.
Right.
He's saying existence itself, it can't not exist.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this eternal sphere idea, but
Yeah.
if being can never not be, does that mean change is,
Right.
impossible? Because my life, it feels pretty full of change.
You and me both.
Yeah.
But that's precisely what Parmenides landed on.
Mhm.
He argued true change, the kind where something goes from being to non-being.
Yeah.
Logically, it can't happen.
Right.
It contradicts his whole concept of this complete unchanging being.
So hold on.
Yeah.
Everything we see, all this constant change,
Yeah.
it's all an illusion? Is that what he's saying?
Things get really trippy here, right?
Yeah.
Parmenides believed the world we experience with our senses, it's deceptive.
Mm.
This world of birth and death, growth and decay.
Yeah, yeah.
All of it, he said, it's not truly real.
Mm.
Think of it like watching a movie.
Okay.
The images on the screen, they seem to move,
Right.
but it's just still frames flashing super fast.
Ah, I see.
Maybe our experience of the world, it's similar.
Yeah.
A grand illusion.
That is a profound idea.
Yeah,
Really makes you question everything you thought you knew.
it does.
But I read that Parmenides wasn't totally against our senses, right?
Oh,
He talked about two paths to knowledge.
he did.
What's that all about?
So he made a distinction
Okay.
between the path of truth, which is, reason and logic,
Okay.
and the path of opinion, which relies on our senses.
I see.
Reason, he argued, that leads us to true knowledge of this unchanging eternal being.
Okay.
Our senses, on the other hand, well, they're unreliable. They lead us astray.
So it's like he's saying, trust your brain, not your eyes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Parmenides believe our senses. They give us opinions about this illusory world of change. But reason reveals the deeper truth, the truth of unchanging being.
I can see why this sparked some serious debates back then.
Oh, yeah.
His ideas, they're so different from how we usually see the world.
Absolutely. He challenged the very foundations of how people understood reality. And honestly, those ripples, they're still felt today.
Really?
To really get Parmenides, you got to understand how different his approach was from earlier philosophers. Before him, guys like Thales and Anaximander,
Yeah.
they were focused on finding that one physical stuff
Yeah.
that everything's made of.
So like water or...
Right, water or some
That-
primordial goo.
Got it.
Yeah.
So they were after the building blocks of reality.
Hmm.
While Parmenides, he went deeper, asking about the nature of existence itself.
Exactly. It's a shift, right, from what is the world made of
Right,
to what does it even mean for something to exist.
Wow.
And that shift, that had huge implications
Yeah.
for the development of Western philosophy.
That brings us to, I think, a really fascinating aspect of Parmenides,
Oh, yeah.
his clash with Heraclitus.
Ah, yeah.
The ultimate philosophical showdown of
Right.
Parmenides' being is unchanging.
Right.
And Heraclitus famously said, everything flows.
Oh, I love that.
Talk about a difference of opinion.
Right. When those two went head to head, it was more than just a disagreement,
Oh, yeah.
It was like a battle for the soul of reality. Is it constant change, or is change just an illusion?
It's like the philosophical version of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
Exactly. Heraclitus, he saw change as the fundamental principle of reality, like a constantly flowing river. You can never step in the same river twice, right?
Right.
That seems completely at odds
Yeah.
with Parmenides' idea of this unmoving, eternal being.
So this raises a big question.
What's that?
Can these two seemingly opposite views ever be reconciled?
That's a question philosophers are still grappling with today.
Really?
Yeah, these seemingly irreconcilable ideas, they represent two huge strands of thought that continue to shape philosophy.
It's a fascinating tension.
It really is.
Now, Parmenides really shook things up, but I also read about connections between his ideas and the Pythagoreans,
Oh, interesting.
those math geniuses, right?
Yeah.
They thought numbers held the key to reality.
Right. And there's some pretty fascinating similarities there.
Like what?
Well, both Parmenides and the Pythagoreans, they saw logic and math as essential tools for understanding the universe. And they were both kind of skeptical of our senses.
Really?
Yeah, they believed our senses could lead us astray.
Interesting.
So we need to rely on deeper principles.
So both camps were searching for this deeper reality, this more fundamental reality beyond the messy world we see and experience.
Exactly. They were trying to find the underlying order, the unity behind all these ever-changing appearances.
Okay, so I'm seeing the similarities.
Yeah.
Was there a key difference?
There was a key difference.
What was it?
The Pythagoreans, they were happy with numbers
Okay.
as the fundamental building blocks of reality.
Numbers as the building blocks.
Yeah.
But Parmenides, he went further.
He did.
Great.
He argued for a single abstract being that underlies all existence.
So for the Pythagoreans, it was about the stuff of reality.
Right.
But for Parmenides, it was about the underlying principle of existence itself.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And that distinction, that's crucial.
Hmm.
It highlights Parmenides' unique contribution to philosophy.
How so?
Well, he wasn't just searching for a physical explanation, right?
Yeah.
He was looking for the ultimate nature
Wow.
of being itself.
And that search led him to some, pretty radical conclusions.
It did.
But we're not done yet. There's another philosophical showdown brewing.
Ooh.
This time with the sophists.
Ooh, the sophists.
Yeah. This is where things get really interesting.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Back again for more Parmenides.
Oh, my brain's still spinning from that last bit.
Yeah, he'll do that to you.
Parmenides, he really makes you rethink everything.
Absolutely.
But before we move on, I gotta ask, is it even possible to live with this idea that the world we see, it's an illusion?
Right.
Just so counter to everything we experience, you know?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Parmenides, he doesn't give us a how-to manual
Right.
for navigating daily life.
Mm.
He was more about those ultimate truths,
Yeah.
the bedrock of reality.
So how do his ideas apply to us then?
Right.
What's the takeaway?
Well, that's where the real work starts, right?
Yeah.
Parmenides, he's forcing us to confront the limits of our senses
Okay.
and to really recognize the power of reason. He's saying, look, there's a difference between how things appear
Right.
and how they actually are.
That idea that our senses can deceive us.
Yeah.
That's super relevant today.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, think about how easily we get swayed by
Right.
flashy ads or misleading stuff online.
Absolutely. It's like she's saying, don't just take things at face value.
Yeah.
Dig deeper. Use your logic.
Exactly. So even if we don't fully buy into the whole everything's an illusion thing,
Right.
there's still wisdom there
Oh, absolutely.
in his way of thinking.
Parmenides, he challenges us to think critically.
Okay.
Examine our beliefs. Really examine them. That's valuable no matter your philosophical leanings.
Right. It's about being more, more mindful,
Yeah.
more discerning about what we accept as true.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm seeing the practical side a bit more.
Good.
But I still have questions like,
Yeah.
if being is truly unchanging,
Right.
how do we explain time? Doesn't time imply change?
That's one of the trickiest parts, you know.
Yeah.
Some scholars, they argue that for Parmenides, time itself is part of the illusory world of appearances.
Really?
True being, they say, it exists outside of time
Whoa.
altogether.
So it's like being is this eternal now
Yeah.
that encompasses everything.
That's one way to look at it.
Okay.
It's tough to grasp.
Yeah.
Our minds, they're so used to thinking linearly.
Past, present, future.
Right. Past, present, future.
Yeah.
But Parmenides, he's asking us to consider a reality that transcends those categories.
Definitely stretches the limits of what we can imagine.
It does.
It's interesting, though. I'm starting to see a connection
Oh, yeah.
between his idea of unchanging being
Okay.
and some modern physics theories,
Like what?
like the block universe, where time's just another dimension.
You're right. Modern physics, especially ideas about time and space, I mean,
Yeah.
they've made some thinkers go back to Parmenides.
Right.
Some even see parallels between his concept of being
Okay.
and this idea of a unified field theory.
A unified field theory.
Hmm.
A single framework to explain all the forces of the universe.
So even though Parmenides was working, 2,500 years ago,
Something like that, yeah.
his ideas still resonate with some of the most cutting-edge science today.
It really speaks to the enduring power of his ideas.
Mm.
Parmenides, he was wrestling with fundamental questions.
About reality, questions that still matter,
Yeah.
even as our scientific understanding evolves.
Yet his influence, it goes beyond science, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We see Parmenides in art, in literature, even in spirituality.
Yeah, it's amazing how a philosopher from so long ago
Yeah.
can still challenge our thinking.
Right, and make us question our whole view of reality.
He's like a philosophical black hole, right?
Wow, black holes.
Yeah, incredibly dense.
Okay.
And with this gravitational pull, you can't escape.
I like that.
Right.
He pulls you in
Yeah.
with these profound
It
questions.
challenges you to think in a whole new way.
Absolutely. And just when you think you're getting a handle on it,
Right.
he throws you another curveball.
Remember our chat about the sophists?
Oh, yeah, the softies.
They were all about man is the measure of all things, right?
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
truth is relative to
Oh.
the individual.
Right, that seems like the complete opposite of
Well,
what
that-
Parmenides was saying.
It sets up another philosophical clash, doesn't it?
It does.
The sophists, they focused on subjective experience,
Right.
the power of rhetoric,
Mm-hmm.
while Parmenides, he was all about objective truth,
That's right.
accessible through reason.
This whole debate about objective versus subjective,
Yeah.
it's still going strong today.
I know, right?
It's at the heart of so many discussions.
Ethics, politics, even science.
Right.
Parmenides' ideas, they just keep popping up.
They do, don't they?
It's like he planted the seed
Yeah.
that keeps growing and branching out.
That's a great way to put it.
So I'm starting to see why Parmenides is considered such a key figure.
He is.
Even if you don't agree with him on everything,
Right.
his ideas, they make you ask these big, important questions.
He forces us to confront our assumptions
Mhm.
about the world
Right.
and to really examine
Yeah.
the basis of our knowledge.
But his influence goes further.
It does. Even
Plato.
Plato. Yeah, one of the most famous philosophers ever. He was deeply indebted to Parmenides.
Really? I thought Plato was all about those perfect forms
Right.
existing in some separate realm.
And those forms, those eternal, unchanging blueprints,
Yeah.
they echo Parmenides' idea
They do, don't they?
of unchanging being.
Both philosophers believed that true knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
it comes from reason,
Right.
not from our senses.
Not those unreliable senses.
So Plato took Parmenides' ideas and
yeah.
ran with them, added his own twists.
Exactly.
Well, they-
But he added his own spin,
Yeah.
like how our world participates in the forms
Interesting.
and the role of the soul.
It's like a philosophical evolution,
It is. It is.
but with ideas that radical Parmenides must have had his critics.
Chris, of course, no philosophical giant escapes scrutiny.
Right.
One of the most common criticisms is that his view of
Yeah.
it's too rigid.
Too rigid. How so?
Critics, they argue, it can't really explain change, and that his focus on this abstract being, it ignores the richness and complexity
Right.
of how we experience life.
Yeah, it can feel pretty abstract,
You can't.
detached from everyday life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How useful is it really for understanding our daily experiences?
Those are valid criticisms, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But even those who disagree with Parmenides,
Yeah.
they admit he raised profound questions,
Mm.
essential questions.
So he set the stage for centuries of debate,
He did.
even if not everyone liked his answers.
Exactly.
Okay.
He was a pivotal figure
In
in the history of Western thought.
what way?
Well, he shifted the focus
Okay.
from cosmology, the study of the physical universe,
Right.
to ontology,
Right.
the study
mean-
of being itself.
So instead of what's the world made of,
Yeah.
it's what does it mean to exist?
Precisely. And that question, it still resonates
Wow.
with philosophers today.
Parmenides was a master at asking those big questions.
He was.
The ones without easy answers.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Parmenides has given me a lot to think about.
He will do that.
Even if I don't agree with all of it,
Right.
I admire his willingness to challenge what everyone thought
Yeah.
and push the boundaries of thought.
That's the beauty of philosophy, isn't it?
It is.
It's about asking those big questions.
Yeah.
Even if the answers, They're tough to find.
This deep dive has been, well, eye-opening is an understatement.
It is, isn't it?
It's incredible how someone from so long ago
I know.
can still make us question everything.
He's left his mark, that's for sure.
His ideas, they still spark debate,
They do.
inspire new ways of looking at things.
It makes you wonder what future thinkers will find
Yeah.
in the depths of Parmenides' work.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
Mm-hmm.
We get to explore the power of ideas,
And how they shape us.
how they shape how we see ourselves in the world.
Exactly.
So, to wrap up,
Okay.
what's one last thought-provoking question for our listeners to ponder as they keep exploring Parmenides?
All right, here's one to chew on.
Okay.
If the world we experience
Yeah,
through our senses, if it's just an illusion,
like Parmenides says.
what does that mean for how we should live? Should we try to transcend the world of appearances,
Or can we find meaning even within change?
even within impermanence?
Wow, food for thought.
Right.
That's a perfect note to end on.
Good, good.
Thanks for joining us on this journey
It's been a pleasure.
into the mind of Parmenides.
A true giant.
Keep those brains buzzing, everyone.
Absolutely.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Welcome back for the final stretch of our Parmenides deep dive.
He's a thinker who keeps on giving, isn't he?
Oh, my brain's still doing backflips.
That's good. That's good. Means he's got you thinking.
He has, but in a good way.
Good, good.
I'm really starting to appreciate how deeply Parmenides influenced Western thought.
Yeah.
But for this last part, I'm curious about how his ideas have been, I don't know, interpreted throughout history. Have philosophers always understood him the same way?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Parmenides, he's been both a source of inspiration and frustration
Frustrating.
for philosophers for centuries.
Really?
Some have embraced his ideas like wholeheartedly,
Okay.
while others have, completely rejected them. That's part of what makes him so fascinating.
Yeah.
His work, it's open to multiple interpretations.
So there's no one right way to understand him.
Exactly. Different scholars, they've focused on different parts of his philosophy.
Okay.
For instance, some emphasize the logical rigor of his arguments. They see Parmenides as like a pioneer of formal logic.
Okay.
He was very concerned with precise language and the rules of reasoning.
So he wasn't just like this mystical poet
No.
spouting off abstract ideas.
He was using logic, trying to prove his points.
Really?
He was a master of argumentation. He used a method called reductio ad absurdum,
Reductio ad absurdum.
where you assume the opposite of what you're trying to prove
Okay.
and then show how it leads to a contradiction.
He was playing philosophical chess.
Exactly. Thinking through every move.
That makes his ideas even more impressive.
It does.
But I gotta be honest,
Yeah.
I'm still wrestling with this world is illusion thing.
Right.
It just seems so counterintuitive.
It is a mind-bending concept for sure.
It sparked a lot of debate over the years.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Some scholars suggest Parmenides wasn't being literal when he said the physical world doesn't exist.
Right.
They say he was making a point about the limits of our senses.
Right. The limitations.
And how important it is to use reason.
To get at the true nature of reality.
So maybe it's not that the world literally is an illusion, but that how we perceive it through our senses,
Right.
that's incomplete.
It's like saying there's more to reality than meets the eye.
I like that.
And we need our intellect
To dig deeper,
to go deeper.
to see beyond the surface. Exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Good.
But even then,
Yeah.
it feels like Parmenides is downplaying our everyday experience. Like,
Right.
don't our senses tell us something valuable?
That's a fair point. And a lot of Parmenides' critics, they've brought that up.
Yeah.
They say his philosophy is too abstract, too detached from how we actually live.
Like he's so focused on this ultimate unchanging reality
Yeah,
that he misses the messy dynamic world we're actually in.
that's one way to look at it.
But even those who disagree, they recognize the importance of the questions he asked.
He forced philosophers to grapple with some fundamental stuff. The nature of reality, the relationship between being and non-being,
Right, right.
the limits of what we can know.
He set the stage for centuries of debate.
He did, even if not everyone agreed with his answers.
Exactly.
He was a pivotal figure, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
In the history of Western thought.
He shifted the focus, didn't he?
He did, from cosmology. Cosmology, right?
The study of the physical universe to ontology.
Ontology, the study of being itself.
That's right.
So instead of what's the world made of, It becomes, what does it even mean to exist?
Exactly. And that question,
Yeah.
it still resonates today.
Parmenides was a master at asking those big questions.
Oh, he was?
The ones that don't have easy answers.
The tough ones.
Well, Parmenides has definitely given me a lot to chew on.
That's what we like to hear.
Even if I don't agree with every single thing he said, I admire his willingness to challenge conventional wisdom.
Yeah.
And push the boundaries of thought.
That's the beauty of philosophy, isn't it?
It is.
It's about asking those big questions.
Right.
Even if the answers are, well, elusive.
This deep dive has been eye-opening, to say the least.
Glad to hear it.
It's incredible how someone from so long ago can still challenge us.
They make us question everything.
Make us question our assumptions about reality.
He's definitely left his mark.
Yeah.
His ideas, they still spark debate,
They do.
Inspire new ways of thinking about things.
It makes you wonder what future thinkers will find
Yeah.
in Parmenides' work.
What new insights they'll uncover.
That's what's so exciting about these deep dives.
Yeah.
We explore the power of these ideas.
And how they shape us.
How they shape our understanding of ourselves and the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, to wrap up this whole Parmenides journey,
Okay.
what's one last thought-provoking question?
One last brain teaser.
Yeah, for our listeners to ponder.
All right, how about this?
Okay.
If the world we experience through our senses, if it's just an illusion, like Parmenides suggests,
Oh, okay.
what does that mean for how we should live?
Yo.
Should we try to transcend the world of appearances?
Or can we find meaning, real meaning,
Yeah.
even within change,
So
within impermanence?
those are the questions, right?
Wow, that's a lot to think about.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this Parmenides adventure.
It's been a pleasure.
And thanks to all of you for listening.
Keep those brains buzzing.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.